Hey Peepsy Doodles. So this video I'm going to be talking to you guys about something that you have been literally hearing me and my other pieces of my soul fam talk about for the last few weeks, and that is Witches in the Woods 2019. So what happened was Witches in the Woods was created after Dee passed away. A lot of us had always had plans to get together with Dee, and things happened to where we all never met, and then all of a sudden, as you all know, Dee passed away last October, and none of us ever got to meet in person. So Laura and I were kind of throwing around the idea of making a space where witches could all come together and meet, and then Chase got in on it, and Melanie and Natalie, and so all these people ended up getting in on it, and it became Witches in the Woods. So originally this was supposed to be, I think the first time through it was going to be like 30 some people, and we sold shirts. We had, Witches in the Woods. We also, I have my I think it's Tiptoe is my Dumbledore. We sold those for fundraisers to kind of help pay for costs. And people kind of dropped out, and it came down to 8 of us ended up going the first year, which was good because I really think that the first year going, we kind of figured a lot of things out, and if there was a ton of people there, then it would have been a lot more difficult. So I think everything ended up working the way it was supposed to. But I wanted to do a recap and kind of tell you guys about what happened and my personal experience with it. Chase from Two of Owls, over on his YouTube channel, he did a Witches in the Woods 2019 recap, and so I had said that I really wanted to, and then I know that all of us are going to get together. I want to say it's next weekend, but we're trying to figure out a date that all of us can do it, and we all want to do a live stream and talk about the whole thing, plus talk more about next year, because it is going to be an ongoing thing where we're going to do it year after year, and peeps are invited. So you can look up Witches in the Woods on YouTube, on Facebook, and anyway, so let's get down to it. So Witches in the Woods 2019, it took place over Memorial Weekend. Kevin and I rented a car. I was really, really nervous, and after talking to Natalie, it sounded like quite a few of us were contemplating backing out because, as you guys know, I am a high-functioning anxiety person, and so I was terrified to go, even though I was close to Laura. Her and I had chatted back and forth numerous times. We do our book swap exchange every month. I had never personally talked to Chase. I knew of Chase from Spread This Witches. I had seen him on YouTube, but I never personally had talked to Chase. I didn't know Natalie before we went. That was through Laura. Laura brought her boyfriend, Jay, from Australia. So I had known that she was with him, but I never met him. And then Isabella and Dan were both people that we had met through Witches in the Woods, but none of us had ever conversed with either. So I was very nervous because the only person that I really knew was Alora. And even that, I was very excited to meet her, but I was nervous. I was nervous as all hell. It's like, you're going to camp with these people for, 3 days, 4 days. What if you don't like each other? What if you don't get along? What if your online presence is different than what it is in person, and you just don't vibe with? I don't know. I was nervous. So we went, just Kevin and I, and it was good that my husband came because he wasn't going to, and I'm really glad that he did because it all worked out great. So we're on our drive down there, and I feel like things were happening that were just trying to get people to turn around. Like, Laura kept having shit happen to them. We were on our way down. We stopped in a hotel the night before because we're literally going to sleep just to wake up to drive 13 hours at the ass crack of dawn. So 11 hours, whatever it was. So we ended up driving a couple hours downstate we stayed down there. And then when we got up in the morning, we were eating breakfast. There were news stories about Missouri, which were from Michigan, all over Missouri, talking about tornadoes that had hit, and 3 people died and 20 people were injured, and it was an hour from where we were going. And when I looked at the weather app, they were calling for tornadoes, like tornado watches, warnings. I don't remember which one's worse, the lesser of the two evils, but they were calling for tornado possibilities all weekend. And I was like, fuck. And Kevin's like, dude, we're going to Tornado Alley. I don't know what you're expecting. And I was like, well, fuck. So that, my mom's like, you guys shouldn't go. And I was like, no, we're going. It's going to be fine. Dee's there. She's going to watch over our asses. We're going to be fine. So we left 2 hours on the road after we got up in the morning and realized there was tornadoes. And Kevin realizes that he lost his wallet. He's the one driving our rented vehicle. So we get out, we spend like 30 minutes at a gas station tearing the car apart, can't find it. I call the hotel, they weren't helpful. So we're like, well, there's not really we can do about it. So I went on and I was like freezing cards and everything else. And the hotel calls us like hours later and said, hey, guess what? By the way, we have your wallet. So at least we knew where it was, but he didn't have his wallet the whole weekend. So that blew. So we keep driving. We get to the campground probably around 4 o'clock. And, you know, I was all excited because I had never seen the Mississippi River. Like, I'd never been that far over, which is not that far. I'm just a sheltered bitch. So we get over there, like, I'm really excited. I'm like, oh, I fucking saw the Mississippi River, whatever. Like, I'm texting Alora. I'm telling her that we're pulling in. She's telling me where to go. You know, we kind of pull in this place. As soon as you drive in, this place is you can just feel it. It almost was like Waverly. Like when you pull into Waverly, it's like you go through this shield and you go through and you're like, whoo. Like Waverly definitely had a feel to it, and the feels weren't the same, but it was the same kind of sensation where you drove in and you were just like, holy shit, this place is something. So it's like it was this big covered, you know, tree canopy drive up. And as we were driving in, now I've told you guys the story about the ladybugs with Dee. I've also told you, I believe, about the stories of the cardinals, because I am a full believer that when cardinals come, they are past loved ones. And there have been a few times that we've had cardinals come that I am sure that it was Dee. It was just the circumstance at the time, and I'm like, oh, this is Dee. Sorry if you see smoke. It's my fancy little flame here. So that's what that is. So we get through there, we drive up, we see like this huge house, and we're like, what in the actual F is this? And it was the main, you know, the main retreat center, I guess. Guy comes out super fucking nice, tells us where everybody is, tells us to go straight. He's like, oh, you guys are from Witches in the Woods, because the place that we went, Oak Spirit Sanctuary, is a pagan-based campground. So it was so cool to drive in and be like, oh, you guys are from Witches in the Woods. That's awesome. Please, here's a map. There's circles in the woods. There's altars set up everywhere. There's ritual. Like, he was just all out. And it was so cool to be greeted like that and to be like, oh, like, we're coming here for Witches in the Woods and somebody actually speaks our language. It was great. So we drive back. And I am like, I'm terrified because I'm about to meet all these people, because, well, it wasn't all these people. Like Alora, Jay, and Chase were there at this point. Natalie showed up that night. And then Isabel and Dan showed up the next day or 2 days later. They might have been 2 days after. I can't remember if they were Friday night or if they were Saturday. So this was Thursday that we showed up. So we drive back. We get there and I see them and I get out of the car, and it was just like this instantaneous bonding. Like, I ran for Alora, she ran for me. I was like, hey, you bitch! And it was just, I mean, it was literally like meeting your long lost friend, and it was so great. And then I got to meet Chase, which was so great because I don't know why, but I thought Chase was going to be a lot quieter. Like, he was going to be very soft spoken, but he was not at all. Like, he was so much fun, and so, like, I've told Kevin this multiple times, he reminded me so much of my best friend, Kyle, that I just feel like I fell in sync with him so easily because it was like hanging out with my best friend that, I mean, I've been best friends with Kyle for 26 years, 27 years, something like that, 26 years. So it was just like falling in sync with my best friend because he acts exactly like him. So it was great. So I got to hug Alora, I got to hug Chase, I got to meet Jay, which Kevin, it kind of made fun of me because when we were at the hotel and, you know, we were talking about the storm coming in, the tornadoes, we were quiet for a minute and I'm like, Kevin, Jay's straight from Australia. Like, this was his first time over from Australia. And I said, you think he's got an Australian accent? And Kevin looked at me and he's like, Ollie, he's like, are you fucking kidding me? He's from Australia, I'm sure he does. I can't even remember the first thing that Jay said to me because all I remember is hearing the accent and I'm like, I cannot wait to listen to this all weekend. It was great. They were all so much fun. So we all, you know, we set up our tent. They were already there for a while, so their tents were set up. We set our tents up. We got everything situated. I don't think I told you guys. I didn't finish telling you about the cardinal. I said the whole cardinal thing. When we were driving in, a cardinal flew in front of the car. And so I was like, oh, look, it's Dee. She's welcoming us because Kevin loves him some birds. And he said one of the things with cardinals is that they are not swooping birds. They do not like to swoop in front of vehicles. They don't like swooping in front of people. They're more of a sit back and watch type bird. So when one swoops in front of you, it's kind of an abnormal behavior. And so the fact that one swooped right in front of our car, I was like, oh, that bitch is already here. She's like, hey, girl. So, sorry, had to backtrack. So we get all set up, super excited. Everybody's just like falls in sync with one another. We started a fire. I don't remember what we had for, we started a fire. We got everything unloaded and then we're like, hey, let's go to Walmart because we needed to go get what we were all going to have for dinners. You know, we had, hey, bring your own food for breakfast and lunch. You need to have your own. We're going to all do communal dinners. So all of us pack into one car, go to Walmart. It was the funniest, most fun experience at Walmart. Just like all of these people, it's like, here's these bitches from Michigan, and here, Natalie wasn't there yet. Here's these bitches from Australia, and from Oklahoma, and from Tennessee, and here's all the, let's just get everybody together and go to Walmart in Missouri. So we are just like packing our cart full of alcohol. Kevin's in his glory because there's all these beers here that we don't have here in Michigan. We're just like, I'm not a big drinker, I'm a social drinker. So, you know, we're all packing our alcohol, we're all getting stuff for hot dogs and steak tacos and whatever the hell we wanted to get. We're buying coolers and ice. So then we're like, okay, now that we bought all of this shit for dinner and nobody feels like cooking, so we ended up getting Subway, which it was great. I mean, that just kind of shows, I was like, these are my kind of people, because I am 100% one of those people that I will go shopping and then I'll say, I just spent an hour shopping, fuck this, I don't want to eat, I'm tired, I'm gonna go through fast food somewhere, because that's how I roll. So we all ate Subway. We took it all back, we set it on the fire. That wasn't a fire yet because it was too hot. Had our I almost just died. Had our Subway, cracked open beer, and we started drinking, and I think that was our most heavily alcohol night. Us two girls, Alora and I went to bed. Natalie got there, oh god, she got there at like 11 midnight, 12:30. She got there late, maybe it was 12:30, because we thought she had died. We hadn't heard from her in like 2 hours, and so at the time, like before she got there, Chase was like, you guys have to come back and see this circle that I found back in the woods. Like, it is just phenomenal. So we all have to go back there with flashlights. We get into this. It was the most, I don't even have words for this place. Like, you walked in, it was all, I mean, there was tree or stumps kind of lining the outer edge of the circle. There was an altar in the middle. But we got out there and it was just the energy. That's all I can say, is the energy of the place was palpable. It really was. It was amazing. And he's like, I have to do ritual here. I'm like, fuck yeah. I don't want to leave ritual because I'm very solitary and y'all gonna give me fucking anxiety, but I will follow whatever the fuck you want me to do. let's do this. So we go back, we're all drinking, whatever. Natalie gets there. Like I said, I had never met Natalie. I bonded with her right away. Ton of fun. I got along with everybody so well, which is why you guys probably see us posting all this shit about #SoulFam. I feel like that came with a Cards Against Humanity card, and I can't remember because we were drinking that night too. But it was amazing how well everybody meshed together. It was also a lot of fun because, you know, we were kind of constantly picking on each other's signs. You know, Laura being a Virgo and me being an Aries and Kevin being a Taurus, and you got the couple of Leos, and it was just so funny to see how well everybody played into their signs, and to be with a group of people that you can joke about that stuff too. You know, like Kevin and I, he can joke about me being an Aries all the time, but when we're out with family, if you're like, oh, here she is being a typical Aries, nobody really kind of... So to be with a group of people that you can joke about that stuff and people get it, and it actually makes sense in their brain, it was great. Anyway, I gotta speed this up because I'm at 16 minutes and we're only at night 1. But Laura and I go to bed at 2 a.m. Kevin was fucking wasted. There were ticks everywhere, so I'm like laying awake until 4:30 when finally Jay ushers Kevin to our tent. And I'm like yelling at him to make sure he's checking for ticks because I don't want ticks in the tent. He's like, oh, you want me to fucking strip out here or something? And I'm like, I don't fucking care what you do. You're bringing ticks in here and I'm going to blow up the tent. I just want you to know that. So he comes in. So we got up at 5:45 that morning. I didn't go to sleep until after 5. So I was up for almost full 24 hours. And then the sun comes up like it always does when you're camping in a tent, and 7 a.m. I'm like, ding! Why the fuck am I awake? But it's camping and I can't sleep in when I'm camping. So I go out in the morning and I get my chair and I get my book and I get my little water jug and I just am sitting and enjoying the quiet and the scenery and the everything. And I didn't know Chase was awake in his tent because he came out and I was like, bitch, I've been awake for like an hour just sitting out here reading. He's like, what the fuck? If I would have known that, I would have come out here. I didn't think anybody was awake. I'm like, I'm an early riser. I don't like it about me, but that's what I am because of work. So slowly people start getting up. I think Kevin got up by 9. He was kind of hungover the rest of the day. We have pictures of him sleeping in the shade, which turned into sun. So he has this weird ass sunburn. We all kind of got burnt that day. So, you know, the rest of the day we just kind of all hung out and had fun, and we enjoyed each other, and we bantered, and we yelled obscenities and swore, and it was just like, I mean, it was literally like family got together after not seeing each other for a long time and just clicked. I can't express enough how ridiculous it was that you had, at this time it was 6 people get together, and how well we all meshed. I just feel like it was the energy of Witches in the Woods. It was ridiculous. This place was amazing. So I want to say that it was that day. I think it was that after everybody napped, maybe, or before everybody. I don't fucking remember what day it was that me, Kevin, and Chase. I don't remember what day it was. I guess it doesn't really matter. One of the days, because like I said, Friday we all just kind of hung out. We had hot dogs for dinner. It was great. I can't remember if Dan and Isabel came Friday night or if they came Saturday morning. So that day was just kind of chill. One of the days, it might have been Saturday afternoon, and then we took a nap, and then maybe they showed up. I don't remember. But one of the days, me and Chase and Kev went out, and we explored all of the different areas and the different altars and the different circles that they had, and the place is just steeped with magic and energy. And they also say that the place isn't haunted, but they say that the spirit of Rose, who originally owned the property, is still there, and that there are spirits of native children that you can hear through the woods. And so I immediately clung to that. Like, that made me really happy. That must have been Friday. That was definitely Friday, because I'm pretty sure Kevin was still hungover. So Saturday, you know, then Nat and Isabel showed up at some point. Saturday came around. Saturday was really because we went home Sunday. Saturday was really our witchy day. And it was amazing. I want to say, maybe Dan and Isabel showed up fucking Friday night. I don't know, Friday night. They did. It was Friday night because all of us, there was a storm warning, and so all of us went to the retreat center and drank a bunch of alcohol and played Cards Against Humanity and laughed our fucking asses off. Again, and it was great because we were making Chase blush like a schoolgirl. It was the best. It was so great. We played Card Against Humanity and What Do You Meme, which, if you guys come to Witches in the Woods next year, we will be playing. So you better get yourself I don't know what I'm saying, but we're doing it. It's happening. That's part of Witches in the Woods now. So it was at that point, we were still adding hashtags, but the whole weekend we had a list of hashtags going, one of them being fuck off Kevin. My poor husband was like basically the mascot all weekend and got tormented. But he loved it. He can say what he wants. He loved it. Hashtag Soul Fam, I feel like came from Cards Against Humanity. Or it might have came from What Do You Meme? I think it came from What Do You Meme? There was like I don't remember, but it came from that night. And that was one that really kind of stuck with us other than fuck off Kevin. So then, Saturday came around. We all had a ball. Saturday came around. That was really our witchy day, was Saturday. We all hung around. We sat in a circle. We talked about, Alora got out her big magic box of goodness, and she showed us different stuff about, the hoodoo culture and the books that she had and the different candles. And I was amazed by the self-igniting dragon's blood incense. Like, I just about died because I didn't know it existed. So we had incense going all the time. Chase and Alora did tarot readings, and to watch these two do tarot readings and to see them in their fucking element is amazing. It was, I've never seen anybody read like that. It was incredible. And I honestly, I got my reading from Chase. Kevin got his reading from Alora, and I felt honored to have been read by one of these two because it's like it's in their fucking blood, and they know the cards so well, and it's like, I don't know, it was amazing. So we all got our cards read. Some of us went off to try to go disc golfing. That didn't work because it was covered in water. It was literally waterlogged. Other people went to go to Walmart to pick up some more things that we needed. We did steak tacos that night, I think. And then that night we did a drum circle. But before that, Chase was like, I gotta go. This is my last night here. I'm going to do ritual. I gotta go. I gotta go be with my peeps. I gotta go. I will be back. If anybody wants to come, you're more than welcome. We're all like, fuck yes, we're coming. And he's like, what? And we're like, we're coming. So, Dan and, ooh, pretty bird. Sorry. Dan and Kev stayed back at the camp. Myself, Alora, Chase, Nat, Isabella, all went to, and Jay. Sorry, I was like, there's 6 of us, and Jay. So you had the Witches in the Woods all went out to Chase's spot, and we followed Chase. We all gave up an offering. We all poured a little libation on our way in. And Chase led us in ritual to Maui, and it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. To hear his yell to Maui, he did it 3 times, and I swear to God, the first time he yelled, I had my eyes closed and I was swaying because when the energy comes, I start to sway. I do the same thing with Reiki. And I felt that energy come in. It almost started at my feet and just went up. It was like I just chilled right up, and I was like, oh shit. And it was 80-some degrees. Let me tell you, it wasn't cold. Every single one of us felt it, and it got more and more intense as the yells progressed. And it was so simplistic, but so fucking astounding. And we all left just like in this stupor of like, oh my God, this is so great. This magic is everywhere. So we all get back to the circle after doing ritual. And I should also preface a little bit, because I kind of forgot this part. The first night that we were there, when we all went back, we were talking about the spirits, and we were back at that same place. And Kevin, because he's Native American, was speaking what he knew in Native. He was also drunk at that point, out loud, like the native his native tongue. And I swear, Chase and I were bringing up the rear, and we kept looking back. We're like, something is following us. We kept hearing things. We kept feeling things, like we knew something was there. And it was like something 100%. You could feel it when we had our ritual and our circle, kind of standing at the circle edge. There were things at that place that you couldn't explain, and it was fine. I was fine. They could hang out all they wanted. It just made the place that much better. So we came back, we had a fire going, we did a little drum circle. I think Dan had 2 drums. So Chase played a drum, Dan played a drum. All of us just got whatever we could. Kevin was on cowbell. He had a cup and a stick. It was just like playing fucking cowbell. I eventually got the snack box, which hashtag snack box is a new thing now that everybody is like, you need a snack box. We literally had a big tote and just full of snacks. So that was out all weekend. I played the snack box. Somebody else had maybe a cooler. Somebody had like an empty beer box. And we were just all drumming. And I have a video up of us around that night. One of my previous videos of a couple of them back, of all of us around the fire. And Chase does a couple readings in the fire, around the fire as well. And so that night was just full of magic. And I tell you what, when we came back from the ritual, we were all kind of talking, and now I guess I may be a bit ignorant, because, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but Chase is the one that works with Maui on a very regular basis. And I pretty much knew Maui from Moana. So, but as far as I know, Maui was actually a shapeshifter deity. And I remember from Moana that Maui, if you guys remember, changed into a giant beetle. So I don't know if that's something that he really did or not, because I don't know a lot about Maui. You'll have to ask Chase. But we were around the fire. Chase was talking, and I remember we had just got back. Kevin and I, we heard something. We looked up, and there was this fucking massive beetle that just came in. Now, beetles, I don't know if you guys know much about bugs. Beetles, because of their huge body weight, they don't stay in the air very long. Usually they go from place to place and they land. They're not majestic flyers by any means. So this giant beetle comes up, and it's sitting there, and it's hovering. And it's almost like it's listening to us recount the ritual to Kevin and Dan. And it's hovering, and it's hovering, and I'm like, Kevin, look at this thing. And it's hovering, and then it zoomed away, and it came back in a different spot and hovered, and it just sat there. And I'm like, Chase, look at the fucking beetle. And I don't know if he ended up seeing it or not, but it finally, after so long, went away. And I don't know, I think it went and landed on someone's car or something and then took off. But I was like, that was Maui. I said, y'all can say what you want. That was Maui coming and saying, hey beaches, I'm here. You called me. Here I am. And you guys can say whatever you want. I 100% think that was a thing. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we hung out, we drummed, we stayed up as late as we could, because then the next morning came around, and we tried some raspberry moonshine, and it was amazing. We sang, even though I cannot sing. It was a bunch of witches in the woods, and it was phenomenal. It was so much fun, and it was so magical, and it was so uplifting and soul opening. Because the next morning we woke up, we had to get up at the ass crack of dawn. Kevin and I had a long ride home. We started out at 8:30 in the morning. We didn't get home until 10:30. It was long. But I feel like, we left in such a different place than what we came. You know, I was kind of in a spiritual rut. Kevin was in a rut with things in general, and we came back not only happier people, you know, but we came back with a soul fam that we didn't have before. You know, I talked to this group of people every single fucking day, multiple times a day, about anything. You know, to be able to have that spiritual group that you can get a hold of and say, hey, I got a question about coffee, or hey, I got a question about this magical working I'm doing. Like, it's fine. Like, it's kind of like everything goes. And I am not somebody that has really had that. You know, I'm not a big person that has a ton of friends, or I don't have a ton of people I'm close to. So to have that, to me, meant the world. You know, I'm working with Chase on tarot, which means the fucking world to me, because as you guys know, I'm a huge reader, but when it comes to learning something, I do so much better when I'm learning from someone as opposed to trying to teach myself through a book. So to work with Chase on tarot has been amazing. You know, to talk with Alora and Nat every single day about whatever the fuck we want to talk about has been amazing. It's just been, you know, we have a whole group that we chat with, and it's just going to grow as the years go on, and we have more people that get involved and more people that come and more people we get close to, and to have this community, you know, this gathering to where we eventually want to turn it into something big, this festival, this Witches in the Woods festival that people can look forward to every year, is amazing. You know, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. I'm really excited. I'm honored that I went and that I was able to go, and you know, that I have this group of people, and that I feel so good about myself, and I feel so good about my practice and things that I want to do, and you know, as you guys saw, I'm making videos again, and yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm so good. And once I got home, it was funny, there was 2 or 3 different instances where Maui randomly came up. And I don't hear anything about Maui ever. It was like one time we were doing heart surgery and our PA was down taking vein, which doesn't mean much to a lot of you, I know. But she randomly was like, so recently, you know, I was in Maui. And I'm like, what the she goes, a few years ago in Maui. And you know how when something means something to you, and you know this especially as witches or spiritual people, when a key word comes out or when you're looking at a time and the numbers jump at you, you know that it's a sign. And Maui was almost like a yell. To where she's like, a few years ago in Maui. I was like, what the fuck? She didn't say it any different, but that's how it came across to me. It was just like, hey, like, I'm here. Maui, what up, beach? And then there was another thing that I posted about Witches in the Woods, and somebody commented on it and said, you know, hello from Maui. And I was like, okay. And I was like, Chase, I have gotten 2 things that have said stuff about Maui. And he's like, oh yeah, we did that call to him. And I just figured I forgot to tell you guys, he probably won't leave you guys alone now that you did that. And I was like, okay, well that makes so much more sense. But it was so cool to have that experience even after we came home. So yeah, I know this video is really long, and I know a lot of people probably didn't make it to this point, which is fine. And I knew that I was going to ramble, which is why I did a video and not a stream, because if I did a stream, this was going to take an hour. And I think all of us are going to get together, like I said, and do like an actual stream and talk with all of us about Witches in the Woods. And so that will be coming up soon. I think it was supposed to be next weekend, but we'll see what happens. So that was my recap of Witches in the Woods 2019. I had a stupid good time. You know, I went there hoping to just get through the weekend and not make a fool of myself, and I left not only with a new family, but I left with such good experiences, and I left with a renewed soul and a renewed vigor for my practice and a renewed excitement for learning and excitement for creating, and I couldn't be more grateful for my trip. And I really hope that some of you guys are able to make it next year, because it is gonna be fucking amazing. So alrighty, I am gonna get in the house. kind of getting chilly out here. I love you guys dearly, and I will see you mofos very, very soon. Bye.